when I was sort of coming up in doing doctoral work, there was very much this sort of researcher as sort of head, and you pretty much do everything. And I've really come to realize that where we need to move the field, and it's sort of one of the reasons I've sort of stepped away from research, is that it really needs to be more community led than just sort of community engaged. And that requires recognizing and dealing with some really entrenched systems of power, particularly institutional power that researchers have. And so I was involved as part of in my role as the DCC FAR, we worked on a guide for community engaged research. But my teacher on most of this has been Chioma Naji, who does a lot of, I mean, totally centered around community work. And one of the things she advocates for in her work is that we really want to move towards more sort of community led. It can't just be the researcher coming up with the research problem, and then taking it to communities. And that's been pretty much the model. And so in a lot of the work that I'm doing now, and then I'm writing a sort of framework for applied intersectionality research. And community-led work is at the forefront of that, because I really think that's where we need to go. And I do think that this moment, as dreadful and draconian as it is, with having the federal government and engage in erasure and frankly a lot of illegal acts around these grants, also prevents opportunities for us to sort of really flip the switch for how those of us who've gotten NIH grants have sort of gone to communities when we needed participants, and then don't show up again, don't go back and disseminate results. And again, a lot of that is located within institutional structures, right? Because in order to get tenure, you got to publish, and you have to publish in peer-reviewed journals, and you have to do it within this time frame. And so I'm hoping that what we'll see now is a sort of broadening where institutions realize the value of having community lead the research and expanding what research and scholarship is beyond just peer-reviewed publication. And so I've really sort of gone I'm in 180-degree different directions from where I started and how I was trained to do research. Sort of training on how you would engage respectfully or equitably with community was all about, okay, so then you write the grant, then you go and get participants. And so that's the sort of other part of it, this expectation that researchers just know how to do this when there are few opportunities to learn how to do it correctly.